coming down the plains, stealing wheat and barley and all the other grains. And it's a ho, hey, hi, hey, farmers bar your doors when you see the Jolly Roger on Regina's mighty shores. And it's a heave, ho, hi, ho, coming down the plains, stealing wheat and barley and all the other grains. And it's a ho, hey, hi, hey, farmers bar your doors when you see the Jolly Roger on Regina's mighty shores. When you see the Jolly Roger on Regina's mighty shores. When you see the Jolly Roger on Regina's mighty shores. Right.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. We are here wrapping up another incredible week at Canada's Farm Show, presented by Bunge. And there is no better way than by celebrating the game that brings the entire province together, Rider Pride and Championship Pride. Here in Saskatchewan, we know a thing or two about hard work, resilience, and teamwork. Those qualities that drive success on our farms are the same qualities that it takes to win on the football field. And this past season, Rider Nation has had a lot to celebrate. Today, we are thrilled to welcome the quarterback of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, a leader on and off the field. Trevor Harris has built an incredible career in the CFL, known for his leadership, preparation, and ability to perform under pressure, qualities that ultimately led the team to football's ultimate prize. Joining our quarterback is the most iconic trophy in Canadian sports, the Grey Cup. Let's have a Saskatchewan round of applause as we celebrate a championship season and the pride of Rider Nation, Trevor Harris.
Are you ready?
Feel it coming in the air. Hear the screams from everywhere. Only thing that's on my mind is who's gonna run this town.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Let's get it started in here.
Thank you so much for being here, Trevor. When we were chatting in the back, Trevor has an agriculture background that I didn't even know about, so I really want to start there. Can you share with everybody, as we were winding around the combine, your background with agriculture?
So, yeah, my dad, he's a construction worker. He's a kind of a one-man show. He's got one employee, and he owns that construction company, but growing up, he always wanted to be a farmer. And so, you know, he was kind of just like, you know what, I'm gonna go at this farming thing. And so he did both jobs in terms of, I mean, he's a solar-powered guy from morning to night, and he would kind of farm, like, I don't want to say in his spare time because it's very time-consuming, as you guys all know, but he, you know, wanted to really do that. And so he went at it, and he was working more hours than he should have, and he did that for about 7, 8 years, but absolutely loved it.
That's fantastic. We love a good farm connection. Trevor, you've played in a few CFL markets, but there is something special about playing for the Saskatchewan Roughriders in Rider Nation. What have you noticed?
So going back to 2015, and I've told this story plenty of times, we played here in my first year where I got to play quite a bit, and we won in double overtime. I played for the Toronto Argonauts. We won in double overtime, but I remember playing in the old Mosaic Stadium, which a lot of people know as Taylor Field, and you know, it was just such an unbelievable environment. The small town feel of Regina kind of makes me feel at home. And I remember calling my fiance, who's now my wife, at the time I'm married for 10 years now, so 4 kids and whatnot. But I remember calling her, I said, someday I'm going to be the quarterback of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And she was like, why? And you know, I kind of just explained to her, I was like, it just feels like home because it's a small town, the community owns the team. You can feel the passion from the fan base, and you can feel how much of football nuts they are. And, you know, so leaving there, I was like, you don't really know, but life and death is in the power of the tongue, as the Bible says, and you speak things into existence. And I'm really glad that I felt that way at that time because I really feel like it was something that I hoped for, and God made happen for me.
That's really cool. You can feel that Saskatchewan energy. I've lived here my whole life, and so I'm part of that Saskatchewan energy. I get it. As quarterback, you're often the leader on the field. And there's many of us in the room today that are gearing up for our really busy season in the field. We're going to be seeding here in a pretty short period of time. How do you approach building trust and strong communication with your team? And how could those same principles apply to leading a successful farm crew?
Yeah, and it kind of gets like a root of like something that I feel really passionate about, which is leadership. And a lot of people talk about, we need great leadership, but nobody can really define what leadership is. And leadership in its most simple form is just influence. And so if you ask yourself, like, what type of leader am I? Really the question is, what type of influence am I? There's a negative influence and there's a positive influence. There's bad leaders, good leaders, but bad leaders are just bad influences. Good leaders are good influences. And so during that time of your leadership, whether you're leading your family, a football team, people in your work environment, whatever it may be, your friends, you just have to ask yourself, what kind of influence am I for that? And I think that a lot of times it comes down to, like, 3 C's. There's character, who are you, especially when the lights aren't on and nobody's around. Competence, are you able to do what you need to do and do the job that you're needed to perform? And connection, what type of connection are you having with those around you? So character, competence, connection, and lastly is communication. And so those 4 C's to me are like really kind of entail like what a leader is. So if you're communicating really well, do you have great character, do you have good competence, and are you connecting with the people around you?
I feel like that might also be marriage advice after 10 years.
Very much so.
Good communication skills. Trevor, for those of us who are farming, many in the audience, we know that our reward comes after the long season of hard work, after harvest is over. Looking back, what was the biggest sacrifice or commitment that your team had to make in order to reach that Grey Cup level, that harvest level?
Yeah, it's kind of just like a quick note. That's something I've always admired about farmers, is delayed gratification is often one of the most highest markers of like long-term success and people that are successful. And farming is actually that to the T. Is, it's delayed gratification. You're planting roots. It's like, your bamboo trees. They don't grow for 5 years and then they shoot up to 90 feet after 6 weeks. But you've got to keep watering, keep nurturing it. And really, that's really what our team had done this year is watering it, rather relationships. We're nurturing each other in terms of, caring about one another. And like I talked about character, competence, connection, we had a really connected team. And I think that a lot of times the closest families pray together, they're connected together. And I think when you have that tight-knit, through the connection, whether through prayer or whatever that may be, is I feel like you get closer. And I think that as our team got closer and closer, you're able to do more for one another. And I think that the more you care about somebody, the more you're willing to sacrifice for them. And that's why family is so important. And so if you can, as a team, become more like family, you're going to push each other further, you'll sacrifice more, and ultimately become a better team, a team that can hoist the Grey Cup at the end of the season.
That really resonates with me. We have some truly amazing people on our farm, some family members and some chosen family, and that's really good advice. We're going to take that back to our farm team for sure.
Thanks.
You've really had an impressive career in the CFL, and you're still performing at an incredibly high level. What's helping you maintain that level of performance?
Yeah, that's a question you start getting, ones you don't really look forward to, because that means you're getting old.
Do you honestly just get tired of people talking about your age?
No, I think it's kind of a badge of honor, because I get, you get trolled about it in the locker room. They're like, call me Unc. You're like, what's up, Unc? And, I'm like, what, you guys play your cards right. Maybe you'll get to be called Unc someday. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you be hope, yeah. And so I kind of wear it as a badge of honor. I've been graced by God very much so that I'm still playing to this day. And kind of like you talked about, you alluded to earlier, what sacrifices are made for you to have success. And so I don't really want to sound like I'm gloating, but I'm not a partier. I don't go out and party. I don't drink alcohol. That's not really my thing. I'd rather get good sleep. I hydrate well. I eat right. I get my workouts, and they become non-negotiable. I have non-negotiables. There are non-negotiables on my list, and a lot of them, have to do with what type of person do I want to become. And Coach Mace talks all the time about be exactly who you expect to be. And so who do you want to be? You have to be that person that's going to accomplish that. And so I've always said, I'm going to play well into my 40s. I've said that, and I feel like you speak everything to existence, and we've talked earlier just about life and death and the power of the tongue. You speak things to existence, but if you really do want to play into your 40s, are you going to go out and party all weekend? Are you going to treat your wife and kids in a not a great way, or are you going to nurture relationships there and keep yourself healthy? Or are you going to hydrate, eat well, work out well, maybe adapt your sort of training regime to the point where you understand what your body needs? And I think it's an around-the-clock job of allowing yourself to get your body to feel right. And I always just said that my number one goal was I didn't want age to be the reason I retire. I wanted it to be when I want to be done. And that's not something that I've done myself. It's through the power of God, and I'm just really thankful for that. And so it's something that I'm just constantly striving for, to try and make sure that it's never an age thing of like, well, looks like Trev's fallen off. I don't want that to be kind of what's going on. I want it to be when I want to be done. And I always tell people, like, age won't be the thing that's going to retire me, so I'm going to keep speaking that into existence as well.
It's really, truly advice. I hope people that are younger than us that are in the audience are heeding that, because you can't even get to that mindset until you've reached your 40s. Is that right? Does that feel right for you?
Correct. I mean, yeah, when you're younger, everybody can perform. Everybody can recover. And so, like, as you guys, as a lot of us in the audience know, as you age, the difference is the recovery piece. How can you recover from a hard workout? A lot of times your hips, your knees, your ankles, your joints will hurt. So how can you combat those things is, making sure that you're getting the proper recovery. And so there's really no overtraining, it's just under recovery. And so you have to be more cognizant of what you need, what the body needs to recover. That way you don't kind of hit that proverbial wall where they say, like, oh, he's falling off a cliff sort of a thing.
I don't know how many other Canadian sports you've tried out since you've been here, and maybe you've tried curling. But I was a curler back in high school, and I got a chance to curl with my high school curling coach, and he's in his 80s, his late 80s. And I asked him, Mr. Yaganiski, like, what's your advice for people wanting to curl in their 80s? And he just took 1 minute, and he said, well, you don't stop curling. And I thought, well, if you want to play football in your 80s, Trevor, don't stop playing football.
Maybe a little bit of a stretch there. But I think it's really cool advice because and I heard the other day somebody say, once you start declining, once you stop ascending mentally, you become a declining asset. And so, are you becoming a better football player, a better husband, father, farmer, whatever you are doing? Are you becoming better mentally? Then, if you're not, you become a declining asset. And so, like, that's something else that I'm very cognizant of. I have a neuroplastician that I work with from time to time. I have a mental performance coach to make sure that I'm still ascending mentally, because most of the time, if you talk to pro athletes, say, what part of your game is mental? How much of your game is mental? And as a quarterback, it's probably 75%. There's not a lot of physical traits that'll separate quarterbacks in terms of how hard we throw. So they'll say about 75, 80%, I'd say. Well, how much time are you spending working on the mental side? And so that's something you have to ask yourself.
That's amazing. And well, speaking of assets, you have a fan base that is truly an asset to your football team. And I think Rider fans want to know, what is your favorite game day tradition, or maybe superstition, if that's more the case?
Yeah, to quote them from The Office, I'm not superstitious, just a little stitious.
Okay.
Yeah, so, but I really don't have a lot of superstitions, because I think that how we do on the field has to determined by how we prepare and the work that we put in during the week. But there are certain things that I do during the game day that kind of make me feel comfortable. I'll go out on the field, I'll walk the field, I'll pray. I FaceTime my mom every game day, because I just remember being younger and sitting in the stands and saying, like, I want to be the guy in the arena that someday. And I'd call my mom and just say, Mom, thank you for all the sacrifices that you've done to allow me to be the guy in here today. And it's just something that I just have to pinch myself every week, that I get to be that guy, and I'm just really thankful and I'm grateful. So it gets me to a spirit of gratitude. And then I go out there and just flip the switch and say, like, okay, here's some plays I'll visualize. But I think my favorite game day tradition is my wife makes game day breakfast for me. And then I have game day breakfast and I'll go take a nap. Okay,
we have to know, what is on game day breakfast menu?
It's organic. It's kind of evolving every week. She makes her own sourdough bread at home, so sometimes we'll do sourdough French toast. Sometimes we'll do a healthy pancake, so it's like protein, banana, some like really good farmer oats actually that we buy. I'd have to show it to you. It's organic and all that kind of stuff, right? But we do that, and a lot of eggs and that sort of thing. So good protein, good carbs, good nap, and then go play a good game.
So good. Well, if you're thinking years from now, and you're looking back, in particular at your Grey Cup championship, what do you think you will remember the most from that?
I hope that I remember how well we responded from winning this year. That's my mindset, is I'm not really thinking about, and I don't think any of us should be thinking about how cool it was that we won. It's now looking forward. What's our response? And I think that's something that we need to think about in life is we have events, we have responses, and we have outcomes. And we don't control the event, we don't control the outcome, but we do control the response. And so how do you respond to things? So we win a championship. Cool. Now nobody cares. What are you responding like? How are you going to respond this year as a team? Are we going to ascend? Or are we going to say, we won one already, we're cool? And the culture that we have, the coach that we have, the offensive coordinator that we have, myself, I don't think that we have any leaders in our room that are saying, like, we're cool now, we won it. It's about responding and becoming a better football team this year and ascending and taking this thing a little bit higher.
I think one of the challenges we have on our farm is maybe our lack of celebrating when we do have a good year. We tend to, especially in Canada, we're gearing up for winter as soon as harvest is over. And so there's always something else to do, even after that championship, even after the harvest is over. But do you have some advice? So you talked about your response to it. How do you just take a minute and enjoy the moment that you're in and celebrate the harvest or celebrate the Grey Cup just for those few minutes? It's
a great question. I think that as a society, we're kind of, by the schooling system, we're kind of programmed the opposite way. If you get a test back and you score 97%, the first thing you do is say, what did I miss? So we always focus on the negatives. That's kind of what we do. But you've heard the saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And really the best way to do it would be to tell yourself how far you've come in each and every bite that you've taken. And so having checkpoints of saying, like, okay, I did this well. Now it's time to make the next right move. And so just do the next right thing. And I think that's something that I've learned through my time just going through the Bible is just do the next right thing. Whether that's treating people really well, whether that's, getting to bed at a certain time so you can get a certain amount of sleep. That way you can perform well as a person, husband, whatever that may be. Is just doing the next right thing, but also understanding that there are checkpoints and times you need to say, okay, hey, I did this, a good job here. This is a good checkpoint, and saying I've come this far. And there's actually a reward system called dopamine that is released through that. Is every time that we realize that we've done something well and we can move on to the next step, that is released in our brain. So we tell ourselves, okay, I'm making progress. Now I can do the next step.
And based on the previous presentation we had by Dumore Agriculture Foundation on mental well-being for farmers, I think we are lacking a little piece of that. So it's good advice. You have a lot of fans in the room today, a lot of fans at the farm show, and truly without a doubt, Saskatchewan fans are famous across the country, but I do a lot of traveling around the world, and I run into a whole lot of fellow fans wearing green all over the world. What did it mean to you and to the team to bring back a Grey Cup to Rider Nation, the world's best fans?
I tell you, you didn't really understand. I didn't really understand until it was done, and we came back, and you just talked to the people around here, and it was just absolutely phenomenal reception. It's been phenomenal listening to people and just saying, like, they're like, thank you so much. I'm like, nah, you guys earned this as well. This is kind of our championship together as a community, as a team. And, I mean, Rider Nation is just everywhere. It's amazing. We used to play in Toronto. We used to talk about, like, man, do you think the Saskatchewan fans are going to be loud at our home games? And it was just like, it's just like crazy. But I have, like, my personal trainer, he lives in Florida, and we Zoom, and he, when we train me, I sent him down some gear, and he runs into people all the time, like, you root for the Riders too? So you can take the person out of Saskatchewan, but you can't take the Saskatchewan out of the person,
It's so good. Trevor, go ahead and clap for that. That was great. Trevor, we are so proud of you, and we are so proud of our team, and we're looking forward to the next season already. We want to thank you for being here today and for just sharing the joy of the team, your leadership, and the Grey Cup with the people who support you right here in Saskatchewan. So another round of applause. Thank you to Trevor.
And lastly, thank you guys. I appreciate, I never take for granted a single day that I get to be the quarterback here. I'm just really grateful for our community, for the fan base, and I can't tell you how much we talk about how great our fan base is and how great the community is here. So thank you for having me, and as a team, we appreciate you guys very much.
Thanks, Trevor. You can join Trevor over at the Grey Cup just around the corner.